lot of damage, and then it just kept barreling through the state of Florida. So it barreled all the way up into central Florida and exited basically in the Volusia County area. It was effectively an I-4 storm at that point, not necessarily Category 4 winds at that point, but massive amounts of water, a lot of damage that was done even on our east coast of Florida. And so we've worked really hard to help all those communities with respect to Hurricane Ian. But then what we had, November, just right after the election, I was down here looking at the damage from Hurricane Nicole. Not a Category 4 or 5 storm, but coming on the heels of Hurricane Ian, did a lot of damage, particularly on our coastlines in counties like Flagler, Volusia, St. John's, and Brevard. And so we came here, we were able to survey the damage very quickly in November, and I said, look, we're gonna help quickly as we can with our resources, but I also said we were gonna be working with the legislature to do a special session to be able to get additional support, not just for Nicole-affected areas, but of course, what happened with Hurricane Ian. And so, like always, we say we're going to do, and we follow through. And so here, we're proud to be able to say that immediately after my visit, I directed the Department of Environmental Protection to utilize $20 million for emergency sand placement to help address the significant beach erosion caused by the storm. I mean, you had some structures that could no longer stand because of the significant erosion. And so this helped the local government here in Volusia, city governments, as well as other counties and municipalities help with the immediate issues that they needed to do. Some was just emergency stabilization, but we also knew we needed to be able to do even more. So we did a special session in December under the leadership of Speaker Renner and Senator Kathleen Passidomo, and we did a number of different things, but we did a lot of disaster relief. So in that legislation, which I signed in December, we included $100 million for beach erosion projects in these affected areas. And so today, I'm proud to be taking that legislation, taking the funds that were authorized, and we're putting this on target. So we are awarding that $100 million to restore the sand on Florida beaches and to support projects in 16 different counties across the state of Florida. And here in Volusia, out of the $100 million that we are allocating, $37.6 million will go right here to Volusia County. And you saw many structures deemed unsafe, 25 homes on the coast in Wilbur by the Sea area of Daytona because of this loss of sand and the erosion. And we also saw neighbors to the north and south that were also affected. So the breakdown is going to go of the $100 million, $37.6 million for Volusia, $23 million for Lee County down in southwest Florida, which got hit by Ian. Although I'll tell you, this erosion was worse than what they had in southwest Florida. They had serious problems there, don't get me wrong, but this has been kind of that 1-2 punch, I think, with the two storms. $17 million for Flagler County, $4.6 million for St. Johns County, $4 million for Indian River, $3.2 million for Brevard County. And so that's going to make a big difference in those communities, and we're happy that we were able to react very, very quickly. Most states, especially states that are running big deficits, they don't have the wherewithal to respond to these types of issues. And so in Florida, you know, we have record budget reserves in this state, over $20 billion surplus that we ended last fiscal year with. And so we're able to do things and we're able to respond. It's not just this. You know, we have in Lee County and surrounding, but mostly Lee, we're doing our own housing project. You know, FEMA does that, but we wanted to do it quicker, so we're doing it our own. And, you know, maybe we'll get reimbursed, maybe we won't. We deserve to, but if we don't, I'm not going to sit there and wait. So we got people in homes now much quicker than if we'd have just sat on our hands. And so that you're able to do those things. We were able to do $500 million in toll relief during this special session. So starting January 1st, and this is areas maybe not as bad here, but definitely as you get into the Orlando region, you can't go anywhere without paying tolls. You go down to Miami, Tampa, they have a lot of tolls. Commuters are really getting hit with this. So anybody that's a commuter, once you hit a certain number of charges, you're getting 50% of your tolls reduced. And so that's the biggest relief we've ever had in Florida for toll relief. And it makes a difference. You know, when you have inflation the way it is, there's certain things that you may decide, okay, you know, this is going up. I mean, some of the grocery is unbelievable how much some of this stuff's going up. So you see some things maybe go up, maybe you make a different choice, but you know, you really don't have a choice about whether you go to work or not. I mean, you got to go. So you have a lot of people that are racking up big tolls, and those bills are going to be cut in half. That's going to save commuters hundreds of dollars, but some it'll save thousands of dollars, because some of them are paying $300-400 a month in tolls for doing around and doing their job. So we're happy to be able to do that. And again, we wouldn't have been able to do that if we didn't have really strong fiscal reserves, very good economies continued to outperform the nation. We're going to do more tax relief in the upcoming legislative session. I've mentioned some of this stuff in the fall about how we're going to make basically raising kids tax-free, no tax on diapers, wipes, children's clothes, strollers, cribs, none of that stuff. Going to be too late for me and my wife and our kids. They're getting, you know, 5, 4, and 2 now, but for younger families, be able to do it, it's going to be really, really important, because again, those are things you just have to buy. You got to buy the diapers, you got to buy these things, so that's going to save families a lot of money. You know, we may even say no tax on gas stoves coming up this year. We'll do that. That's fine with me. I want you to be able to have a choice. So we're going to do a lot more, and I'm excited to be able to work with Speaker Renner to be able to do that. I think you're going to see a lot of really good stuff. So in the special session, toll relief, $100 million for beach erosion. We also did $100 million for hurricane stormwater and wastewater assistant grant program. So these communities can repair damaged infrastructure to be able to better protect their communities, their environment, the health of their communities, and that's going to be very, very important. I can tell you the infrastructure that had been hardened in Southwest Florida, some in the aftermath of Charley in 2004, Hurricane Charley, some even in the aftermath of Irma in 2017, although most of it was probably done for Charley, but it did much better than some of the older stuff. And so that stuff really is important. So we have the ability to help those. We also have $50 million. This is, I think, the first of its kind we've ever done, Hurricane Restoration Reimbursement Grant Program. So this helps homeowners be able to take action and prevent coastal erosion on their own properties. And so they're working with it with Sean Hamilton. Yeah, it's good for many of you. So they're working with it with Sean Hamilton, and they're going to be able to receive applications starting February 1st is their target. So that'll be really, really important. The bill that we signed for special session also authorizes the state to waive local match requirements for beaches in the impacted areas. I mean, some local governments may not have the ability to do the full match, and so we'll step up to the plate and do that. We also, in the special session, did the property tax relief for people whose homes were rendered uninhabitable by these hurricanes. And so I was able, through executive order, to suspend collection, but we needed the legislature to come in and basically rebate that. So that's been wiped off the books for people, so they're not going to have to worry about paying taxes on a home that they cannot live in. So we thank for them for doing that. We also provided $350 million to assist local governments with FEMA match requirements. And so what happens is, I guess, what do we have? How many 100% days did we end up getting? 70?
We ended up getting about 75.
75. So first 75 days, FEMA reimburses 100% of the costs, including what the local and state are doing. Then beyond that, have we hit the threshold yet, or we will?
We're 57% there.
Okay. So then it's a 75% FEMA cost share, 25% state and local, 12.5% local, 12.5% state. We think because the storm was, Ian was so bad, that it'll likely be automatically go up to a 90-10 reimbursement. But what that means is locals have to pay 5% of the cost. So this $350 million can go to basically paying their share of the thing. This is like debris removal. These are things that are really, really important. And so that's going to be really, so that'll end up leveraging billions of dollars in relief efforts as a result of us doing that without them having to worry about being cash strapped. And finally, last but not least, to support housing recovery efforts, we also provided $150 million to support things like home repairs, relocation costs, and to help particularly elderly with insurance deductibles. And so people have homeowners policies, they get coverage, but they may not meet the deductible, so you can use that to be able to help. So all told, it was a really robust package. I'm glad we're getting this money out very, very quickly. Sometimes this takes like 5 or 6 months to be able to get money out the door when you're talking about government agencies. And so we're working very hard to do it. So do we have that check? All right, so anyone from Volusia who wants to come up and accept this check? All right. You do a photo? Okay, congratulations. Of course. And like we've said from day one of, even before the storm hit, well, Ian for sure, we did things like the First Lady started a hurricane disaster fund for people to give charitable contributions. That's raised, what's that raised right now, do we know?
I believe it's around $60 million.
$60 million that they raised. And there's been tens of millions that have already been obligated. We're going to do more this week, which will be good, and it's helped a lot of people. But the point we made, even before the storm hit, is, of course, preparation, search efforts, power restoration, all that infrastructure, very important. But that kind of gets attention, and then as the days and weeks and months go by, it kind of fades into the background, and we just understand storms of that magnitude. That's a very lengthy recovery process. There's going to be a lot of stuff we're going to have to do over the ensuing months and even years, and so we understand that, and we're going to want to do that. And we did it with Hurricane Michael, hit 4 months before I even took office, and the number of times we were in the Panhandle helping victims of Hurricane Michael was a lot, and we did a lot, and we were able to help a lot, and they haven't fully recovered, but man, they've come a long way. And I think Southwest Florida is probably, for Ian, going to have a relatively fast trajectory considering the damage. We want to make sure the east coast of Florida is also being able to recover very quickly, get the problems that we need to address, and so we are doing that and doing it very rapidly. Okay, so we're going to hear from a couple other folks. We have our DEP Secretary, Sean Hamilton, is here.
Thank you, Governor. Of course, it's a pleasure to be back here in Volusia County with the Governor as we announce these additional investments. You know, we visited the community frequently throughout this response, and the one thing the Governor is committed on, and I think you've heard it every time he's talked, we will be here as you recover, and we will make sure those investments go to good use. And again, this $100 million will do just that. It'll support the beach nourishment projects that you see are very crucial to a couple different things, right? Obviously, they're important for our tourism, our habitat, but candidly, they're the first line of defense as you think about storms and the protections that they provide the structure. So getting those beaches renourished back into a protector posture is critical as we think about the recovery. So again, I want to applaud the Governor and the legislature for their steadfast leadership in being able to bring these resources timely to bear. So thank you.
Governor, thank you so much for having me here today. I appreciate you and your leadership as always. First Lady as well. Speaker Renner, appreciate your leadership as well and your support. I want to thank, before I move on, I want to thank Sean Hamilton and DEP as well as the many other secretaries, but specifically today, Sean Hamilton, he's been out here beside me, whether it's been in Fort Myers, it's been over here on this side in Daytona, Volusia County, Flagler County. He's been here throughout thick and thin with me, and Sean, I appreciate your partnership and I appreciate the relationship that we have. Coastal communities in Flagler and Volusia County have already experienced hardships with infrastructure and coastal erosion when Hurricane Ian and Nicole struck. In the immediate aftermath, these storms, the division implemented a new and innovative short-term recovery solution by placing storm control, flood control systems along the beach, and we did that in conjunction, in coordination with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. These flood control systems have never been used along the coastline before. This was the first time we've ever done it. The governor said, "Kevin, what can we do to stop this from getting any worse?" I said, "Sir, I got an idea." And with his support, we were able to come out here and do that. And since we've put them up, not one additional house has gone into the water. So again, appreciate his leadership, appreciate the partnership. I'm proud of the work we've accomplished so far to help communities like yours recover, and I look forward to working with our partners, including DEP, and also our local partners at the city and county. I've had breakfast with the mayor, talking about your issues and what we can do to help out. So I look forward to our continued partnership as we move down that path. The last thing I want to do is again thank the governor and the speaker in their investment in the Florida Division of Emergency Management. You heard the governor say that 90-10 threshold is really, really important. And I want to say, Governor, with the policies that you implemented on day one of your election, your investment from the House, the investment of the Senate, we were able to push $500 million and get to 57% of the way to that 90-10 threshold in less than 100 days. In hurricane, here's the quantitative side of it. In Hurricane Michael, that took us over a year, and we did it in the first 100 days. So, Governor, thank you so much for your leadership.
Everybody that lives in a coastal community knows that the lifeblood of our economy is our beaches. No beach, no Daytona Beach, and that's true for all the beaches. And so, fortunately, we have leadership in this state. The governor alluded to the bridges. There was a suggestion that it takes 6 months to build a bridge down in Southwest Florida. The governor said, "No, that's no good," and built it in 3 days. So I was able to tour the damage from Nicole here with the governor in this very spot not long ago, and leaders deliver on and makes solve problems. We were back within days of having our committees assembled in special session, as the governor said. And the challenge was this, is that there's no more beach, there's no more dunes to give here. And so we had to get money out fast to make sure that we had structures in place so that if a nor'easter comes, something like that we see during the wintertime, that there wasn't further loss of buildings and roads and so forth. And so in record time, literally within days of putting our committees together, we came together to put in this money that the governor mentioned, the $100 million for the beaches, the money to help private households, because these beaches are integrated. We've got to make sure we have one armored beach to protect our communities, and we did that. And so we'll continue to look in the upcoming session at what can be done to further strengthen our beaches and our communities and address the needs of hurricane victims. I also want to thank Secretaries Guthrie and Hamilton for all their hard work in this area as well, and look forward to working with them to get this money out the door and in the hands of the people that need it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Governor, on behalf of our city manager, Kurt Swartzlander, our city and its residents, we welcome you here. Speaker Renner, DEP Secretary Sean Hamilton, DEP Director Kevin Guthrie, and our newest Congressman, Corey Mills. Thank you. I want to impress upon you, as they talked about how important it was that the speed that things are being done has never been done before. So I want to thank everyone for that. At this time, too, I have to thank our legislature, which is Chase Tremont, Tom Leake, who checks on us constantly, and especially Senator Tom Wright. Tom Wright was the one that brought me to meet Kevin Guthrie, and things started to happen immediately after that. Out of that meeting came the Tiger Dam. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar, if you walk down probably about a half a mile to a mile, that's where the Tiger Dam was. And that was installed for 30 of our houses. And I'm proud to say after those were installed, there was no further erosion. That it took care of that. So we thank you so much for that was put in so quickly. Governor DeSantis, I want to thank you for your support during the special legislative session that we got Bill 4A, some grants and funds for renourishment. Again, thank you for that $20 million you allotted to us for sand. Governor, I believe this is your third visit here, and we thank you today for being here to follow up, again, what you said. We are not leaving you. So he's back again today to check on that. I want to impress upon everyone, though, we've really gone fast on some of the things we did, but we still have a lot of need. We need to work on our dunes, our restorations for our city, for our county, and for our residents. I want to thank the staff from DEM that was there almost every day when those installation of Tiger Dams was there. Austin, where are you? If Austin's still here, he was here almost every day to help us out. So the beaches of Volusia County, Secretary Hamilton, I want to thank you for that emergency order that you made almost all of Volusia County beaches eligible. When they would not have received a seawall previously, they're eligible for it now. So we're so grateful for this unprecedented assistance. And going forward, we're looking forward to the collaboration with our state, with our county, our federal government to restore our beautiful beaches to where they were before the hurricane. Thank you so much.
So we're happy to be able to deliver. I know that as the legislative session gets underway, there may be additional things to be able to do, and I know the speaker will be there working with the delegation here in Volusia County and other affected counties, and we'll continue to make good things happen. And we're looking forward. The race, how close is the race? Is it like a month away, 3 weeks away?
Next weekend.
What's that?
The Rolex is next.
Okay, and then the 500 is when? Mid-February? Okay, yeah, so about a month away. So we're looking forward to that, and we want to, hopefully we'll see even more progress before that happens. Okay, you have questions? Yes, ma'am. Oh, so the question's about Biden's documents, and you know, look, he said that it was incredibly reckless to have classified. He said all this stuff, you know, on 60 Minutes. And, you know, now you find out he had them stashed behind his Corvette at his house that Hunter had access to, which is definitely a security risk in my book. And so I think it just shows you, you know, what some of these folks do. You know, they had all this stuff to say. Now they're acting like, you know, this is something like it's not a big deal. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You can't have two different sets of rules based on your political party. Well, I think the funds now, we're in a position, I mean, you know, we did the 20 million, that was really done, I think, through the municipalities. Now the program that I signed a few weeks ago, they're going to be able to submit applications February 1st for private grants. And so that's something that will happen. Permitting, you want to take that? I always tell him, permit, just do it. When you have stuff like this, just do it. So he knows, and he's been working on it.
Yeah, that message has been received loud and clear from the governor. But those are the exact some of the concerns we're hearing about. the various degree of the complexity associated with getting a brand new seawall, looking at the species habitats, looking at all those different things under normal circumstances. That's great, you got time. Well, normal left a long time ago. And so we're challenging all of our teams to do everything we can to get the necessary information to permit safe, reliable, habitat protective structures as quick as and effectively as possible. In fact, and you probably saw this locally, we'll have staff here again, office hours tomorrow and Friday. I would encourage anybody who's working on a permit, an authorization, has any questions, to go to those meetings, get the information you need to get us, to hold us accountable, to give you the authorization you need. Take advantage of those resources. Like Kevin said, we forward our mail here, we're not leaving. And so take advantage of those resources to make sure that we're able to move forward. So thank you.
Yes, sir. I mean, I think so. The question's about, so also in this special session, so we're doing the disaster relief, toll relief. We also did major reforms in property insurance and trying to align our market with other markets around the country that actually work, and ours has not worked for a variety of reasons. But, and so what I would say is I think it's going to take a little while longer before you see, but I think the response has been very positive. And I know that there were different companies who do things like provide reinsurance, which you need, because like if you're an insurance company, you have to buy that. If you can't buy that, you can't offer policies. And they basically had budgets written up where Florida was not even going to be included for any capital at all. That would have been very bad. But because of the reforms, some of that money is going to be available. So it's really all about trying to attract more private investment into Florida, more policies being offered. Because if you dump everyone on citizens, that will go belly up, and that will cost people a lot of money, and that is not the way to do it. So I think everyone who's acknowledged, who's looked at this, said Florida is more attractive today than it was, a month and a half ago, and that's good. But I do think it takes some time to percolate. We may need to do other things in the regular session, and we'll be standing by and we'll be willing to do it. So, but you can count on us staying in the fight here. We understand that these are significant issues, and I think it's great that we have, such strong support, not just, of course, in the state government, the administration, my administration, but also in the legislature to really step up to the plate and help a lot of folks. So we'll stay at it, and we'll make sure that we're here, and Sean will get those permits moving. So God bless everybody. Thank you.